Hello everyone. This painting is a recent commission that I have received, and it is a recreation of an old photo that was made into a pendant. So it was really tiny, black and white, and not the best photo quality, but I thought the challenge was good and good experience anyway. And so this is painting of someone's mother. It's an older painting. It is black and white, and due to that, they said they didn't really care for me to try to create any lifelike colors. They just said stick with the black and white, so that's what I'm doing here. So this is a monochromatic portrait. The only colors I'm using today are Mars Black by Gamblin and Titanium White by Gamblin. And I've pre-mixed it with a palette knife, just a gradient of, I think those are 7 different variations of the Mars Black and Titanium White, just from dark to light. And like most of my paintings, I do the background first, and this background was done with Gamsol only, just to kind of make it dry more quickly and be more spreadable. And the rest of the painting, my medium of choice, is a 50-50% mixture of cold pressed refined linseed oil and 50% Gamsol, which I have pre-mixed in a squeeze bottle. So if you see that, I've always have that ready on hand. And for this painting, like many other portraits I do, I start dark to light, and I do correct as I go. So for this, started off with the eyes, a little bit of the nose, a little bit of the lips and the hair, and just kind of fill things in as needed. And I think doing monochromatic portraits is a good way to start off with portraiture, because you don't have to worry about the other colors. You're just focusing on likeness and accuracy. And that's something that I think really makes or breaks a portrait. It could look really good to the viewer, but the person who commissioned it might not be very happy with it because it doesn't look quite like the person that they're wanting you to paint. So I think this is a good way to practice. It does not have to be black and white. It can be whatever colors you want, although if you start off with a color like yellow or orange that is too light, you really won't have much room for any sort of gradient. But colors like black, dark, well, I guess the cool colors really, and maybe a dark red would work. So like a blue, a dark purple, dark green, and maybe a dark red. Brown would work too, except give it like a sepia effect. Just anything that you can lighten up. And if you really want to do something with yellow, you might be able to do like a 3-color portrait. So not a monochromatic portrait, but you can do like red, orange, yellow, and white, and do sort of a gradient for that if you want to practice. And I think that would look really cool. I think you can do some really cool stuff with that. But just doing portraits without incorporating all the correct colors is a good way to springboard and start to practice, just because it's limiting the variables that you have to work with. And I guess for this painting, I didn't really learn too much, but it was a good experience regardless. I might go back and retouch some stuff after it dries a tiny bit. I typically do 1 or 2 revisions, so at the point of filming, I have only just painted it, and I'm going to show the client and see what kind of revisions he wants, and then I'll come back to it. But this right now is just the first sitting, and if he's fine with it, then it'll be the only sitting. I will go back and varnish it once it's dry, and I think that's just another cool thing about oil paintings, because in person you can tell it's got a lot of texture. I don't really recommend you touching people's paintings, but you can feel all the various textures and grooves, and I think that's super cool. And I guess I don't really have too much else to add to this. This is an 8x10 canvas, so kind of tiny, but overall I think I'm pretty pleased with the composition, although I do think the the final image, I think the likeness is super close, but I think I made her look less happy I think she could just look a twinge more jolly. And a thing that I did change right after I stopped recording was I did make her cheeks a little bit more full. Not too much more or anything, but I just sometimes in person I think it looks great, and then when I take a picture of it, I don't know, I just see some differences. And another tip I guess is paint with a mirror handy, because a lot of times you look at it and you're like, wow, these proportions are great. And then you look at it in a mirror and you're like, wow, this doesn't look like a human anymore. So that's something to keep in mind. And since this is oil paint, I can go back in and make revisions as needed, since the dry time is a lot longer than that of acrylic paint. But anyway, that's my recreation of a little keychain portrait of my coworker's mother. I hope you enjoy. I hope if you have any questions, you can leave any comments and I'll try to get to them. And I hope everyone has a good day and paint something or don't, but you should. Have a good one.